I
Yeah.
started my career in 2007 and it's almost 13 years and I never paused to think whether I am doing the right job or not because I didn't knew the importance of pausing and reflecting. But recently when I read the book, The 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell is the book, I could realize the importance of reflection. But why reflection is required? How to do it? Let's cover it in next 5 minutes. Remember the ad from Coca-Cola, the pause that refreshes. So that's what reflection is to someone who desires to grow. Learning to pause allows to growth to catch up with you. That's the law of reflection. But why you need to reflect? First is reflection turns our experience into insight. Second is stopping to reflect is one of the most valuable activities people can do. We have a lot of things to do in our life. Our play button is always there, but there is no pause button is rarely used. By by pressing the pause button, we filter those events and reflect on the important ones because out of the thousand events in a day, one or two might be life marker events. By allowing ourselves to pause, we convert those life marker events to life makers. It has so much power that it forced me to quit my current job and start on a new journey. That is the power of reflection. And it also, if you are doing going in the wrong direction, it might help you to do some course correction also along the way. And the fourth important point is pausing with intention also expands and enriches our thinking. They say that a minute of thought is worth more than an hour of talk. So find now where to reflect. You should have a specific place in your home where you can reflect and also schedule a specific time. So the where and when part should be clear. At that place and that time, your purpose is to reflect on your activities. Now, how to do the reflection? There are I can we can use a 4I method. First I is investigation. So our input is our experiences of our life. By investigating our experiences, we convert those experiences into insights and tools. Second method is incubation. By putting our experiences of our life into a slow simming cooker of our mind, we are able to churn and listen to those important events. So they say that prayer is speaking to God, meditation is listening to God, incubation is listening and learning from those experiences. Third I is illumination. At the end of each day, you should playback the tapes of your performance. The result should either applaud you or poke you. The fourth I method is illustration. Most good ideas are like skeletons. They provide good structure, but reflection helps to put the meat on the skeleton, to put the details on the high level ideas. Now, what? What questions to ask when you do reflection? You can take few simple questions like what are my biggest assets? What are my biggest liabilities? What is my highest high in life? What is my lowest low? What is the most worthwhile emotion? What is my least worthwhile emotion? What is my best and worst habit? What is my most fulfilling? What is most fulfilling to me? What do uh, what do I uh, what is the best thing I like about myself? These are some of the questions that you can use while doing the reflection. The farther you go in your life, the more critical it is that you take time to pause and think. If you have been diligent in your efforts to grow along the day, you will also be better equipped to fulfill the purpose. So ask the question, what is my second half? We have most of you have already lived your first half of your life. Just pause now and ask, what is my second half of life will going to look like? You cannot you won't go very far without knowing your life mission. So how do you know? By asking the questions like what is my passion? What good I have achieved? What have you done uncommonly well? How are you wired? where do you belong? Never forget that your goal in personal growth is reaching to your potential. But to do that, you need to keep pausing, keep asking questions, and keep growing every day. So apply the law of reflection by finding a place, by scheduling a specific time, and and I will end my summary. The wise man questions himself, but the fool questions others. You decide where you want to belong. Thank you.
Amazing, Jeju. Very nice way to end the talk. The wise man questions yourself and foolish man questions others. Is it? Is the quote right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very deep meaning in it. Thank you so much. Wonderful sharing. Yeah. Great. So we'll move to the next speaker then. Prakash, you'll go next.
Yeah, Kiran. So, good evening, all of you. Today, I'm going to talk about the topic from uh, how to win friends and influence people. The topic is how to become a conversationalist. So, how to kick up a good conversation with people around you, and so that we will get best out of it. Okay, so most of the time when we meet new people, so most of the time we carry our ego that I'm working in so and so field, so people should come to me and they should ask question to me, or sometimes we are listening any of the speeches or something like that, or we are just listening in the technical field, we are listening to some demos. Okay, so we are not paying attention most of the time because we are thinking that we are knowing all of them. Okay, so in order to gain the confidence of people who are talking to us, first we need to uh, do one thing, that we need to do, we need to become a attentive listener. Okay, most of the time I also experience that uh, many people are listening to us to ask the questions rather than understanding what the person speaking about. So many of the times people who are listening, they are just thinking about what question I should ask to this person, instead of understanding what he is talking about. So the problem here is that if you do not listen that person uh, correctly, you may not be able to understand his viewpoint or something he wanted to convey to us. Okay, so we need to be very attentive listener, whoever explaining his ideas or something like that. And everyone thinks that, so I want to be interesting person. Okay, but in order to be interesting, you need to be interested in others first. That is what I think. Okay, if you are not interested in others, no one will be interested in you. So you should be interested in other things, you should learn those things from other people, and then only people will start um uh, feeling that this person is really interested towards me, so that I need to understand what he is really doing. Okay, so we should always ask the questions to the person or the people around you which they will enjoy the answering. We should not ask the question they will just make some hurt to those people, some bad questions or some bad memories, something like. You should ask we should ask about their accomplishment, what they have achieved in their, what they have did good in their life, or something like that. So what will happen, I will just uh, give one real life example. Okay, I was traveling in some part of Maharashtra, it is rural area. Okay, one farmer was uh, in the ST in the state transport bus. He was with his one of the uh, pot with him. Okay, so then I just started asking that what is there inside this pot. So he said that there is a honey inside this pot. Then I asked him question like, how did you get this? Then he asked like, he said like, we are doing this thing in our farm. We just we have honey beehives farm, and we do just collect it, and I will just sell out in the market sometime now. So I just asked many questions. I showed that I'm very much interested in whatever he's doing. So the 5 minutes back, the person who do not wanted to talk me, he was just explaining like anything, that what we are doing, how we are uh, these honeybees, how we are growing and all these things. He explained like anything. And after a few pause, he start asking me about my things, from where you are, and what you are doing, what is your profession. And he was listening very carefully about my accomplishment and all these things, even though we were unknown to each other. So what I think, I'll just summarize. So you need to be an attentive listener in order to be a great conversationalist. Then you need to be interested in other people in order to be, they need to be interested in you. Ask the questions that person will enjoy answering. Means I ask the questions related to honeybees, so the person feel like I am very much important to him, so that he is asking so much questions and he was answering very happily, so he was enjoying. And I was encouraging him to talk about his accomplishment, that how you set up all this kind of business. And he answered every question in the very happy manner. So these 4 points, if we can follow in our life, so we can be a good conversationalist. So that is what I think. Over to you, Kiran. Thank you.
Superb, superb, Prakash. Each and every time your energy levels are increasing, it's just like, nuclear reaction is happening within you. Every time you come up with a topic, you bring examples, you bring excitement, and definitely you took interest of all of us by sharing your excitements here. Superbly, and the content was so nicely. I was so amazed because the content you shared is so essential for everyone to implement, to really connect with people. A lot of people ask me, Kiran, how do you connect with people? हम लोगों से connect कैसे करें? How do you talk to a stranger? Actually, to talk to a stranger, you just have to say hi, and after saying hi, you just have to be a very attentive listener. और कुछ नहीं है. Once you are attentive listener, you keep asking the right questions in a genuine manner, not in just a probing manner. And that is when you apply, things are very different. Trust me, the way he shared so easily, it is not that easy. But yeah, when you apply, the things are going to be very different and very interesting. Thank you so much, Prakash, for sharing such an important topic. Great. So we'll move to before moving to the next speaker, I'll just invite a few of the new folks who just joined for the first time. So I see there are a few folks. I think Aditi Khan. Aditi ji, I think have you joined for the first time, right? If you can unmute yourself and share your name, profession, who invited you.
Yes, I joined today only. Just right now I joined this video.
वंडरफुल. अदिति जी, आप अपना नाम शेयर कीजिए, आपको किसने इनवाइट किया है और आप कहाँ पे लोकेट करते हैं, एंड व्हेयर डू व्हाट डू यू डू? 4 पॉइंट.
Actually, I'm from Pune, and Gayatri Gupta she referred me for that book for this book club online webinar.
Great. And you're locating in Pune, Aditi जी, कहाँ पे आप लोकेट करती हैं?
पुणे में हड़पसर में.
Oh, बढ़िया. I think गायत्री और दिलीप मेरे
हम एक ही सोसाइटी में रहते हैं.
Nice.
And great part is that she's also attending health club.
Oh, very nice.
Very regularly.
Super.
Yeah.
Very very nice to know. फिर तो mental health भी take care होगी अब तो.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. Nice to meet you, Aditi ji. We'll again come back to you.
Yeah, same here.
So we'll move to the next introduction.
Hi everyone. Good evening everyone. First of all, thanks to Karthik and Sahana for inviting the book club. Today I will share about the financial literacy in Rich Dad and Poor Dad, Chapter 2 session, Chapter 2. And in this book, in this Chapter 2, they will discuss about the financial literacy. What is meant by financial literacy? What and all things we have. What and all things that one I have to share now. In financial literacy, the main thing to understand about what is the mean by financial literacy means, before that we have to understand the difference between the assets and liabilities. In that chapter, they will discuss about assets and liabilities by taking some small stories. Like they will in that book, rich people acquire assets and the poor and middle class acquire liabilities. these and one more thing is assets will put money in pocket, whereas liabilities takes money out of our pocket. Like difference between the assets and liabilities. And one more thing is this one, assets and liabilities means it is not like if it is cash. Once again, before that we have to understand the cash flow. How cash flow will work. The how cash flow will work. I have to understand before that one. And they in that chapter they taken one example like what is meant by asset and what is meant by liability. They took one example for buying a house. All people will think buying a house is an asset, but actually it is not an asset, it is a liability. Because if you want to purchase an asset, you have to purchase an asset which will generate the cash flow. If the cash flow is not generating, then we have to treat it as a liability. Here purchasing the house is an asset, but it is not a cash flow. Like why it is not a, people will think like it is a asset, but it is actually purchasing house is a liability. The difference with why some reasons will be there that we will treat it as a liability. The main reasons are like if I want to purchase an house, it will repay more. Like everyone we will purchase through loan only. If you want to repay that loan, it will take more than 30 to 40 years. That it will block the amount. And one more thing is based on the rescission, if after completion of the loan, if you want to sell the house, it may be cost less or more, but not sure how much it will repay. Like sometimes it will be less also, sometimes it will be less. And one more thing is loss of time and loss of additional capital. And in this book, in this chapter 2, they told like the definition financial aptitude. Financial aptitude in the sense, the meaning of financial aptitude is what do you do money once you make it, and how to keep it longer, and how to make money work hard for you. This is the meaning of financial aptitude. Once if you know the meaning of the financial aptitude, then we will categorize what is meant by asset and what is liability. In this chapter, main two key learnings I understood that by example, buying a house, like it is a asset or liability. From my after reading the book, I understood that before that I am thinking like buying a house and is an asset, but not. After reading these points, I came to know buying a house is not an asset, it is a liability, because we are blocking the amount and we are not generating any cash flows on that house what I am purchasing. The main thing I want to tell, like if you want to tell that is an asset, you have to generate the cash flow. If the cash flow is not there, then we will treat it as a liability. These things I learned in that book. Thank you, Kiran.
Amazing, Ishwar. Actually, you touched the very key heart of that chapter, and I see that smile in your face that you understood the essence of it. Definitely, if people really get understanding of that, a lot of good decision will be taken in whatever asset people buy. Sometimes we buy something, we think it is an asset, but actually it is a liability. So if we are aware of how to convert liability into asset, then well and good, or at least don't take additional expense which will add on to our own negative cash flow. Superbly shared, Ishwar, and I hope after listening to your talk, many people will be asking new people, yeah, what is this book? We also want to read which book it is. Definitely, it's a Rich Dad Poor Dad book. Good. Wonderful, Ishwar. Thank you for sharing. We'll move to the next speaker. Charanjit, you can go ahead. Charanjit, if you can hear me.
Yeah, Kiran, just a moment. Just a moment. I'm audible, Kiran?
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening all. This is Charanjit. I'm currently working in Pune, but basically from Punjab. So today I will share learning from one article that I've read, which is on how to be 100% credible when you are talking to someone. I think this tip will come into picture when you are going for an interview, I would say. whenever we go for interview, the first thing, and even your senior will tell you that be confident, keep a eye contact with the recruiter, whether it's the manager and whomsoever you are talking to, right? So I will share one example that was there in the article. So it was like, okay, the person, so one friend, one person interviewed his friend. She's successful in HR field, so she has done a hiring for great companies at a higher level and at for every positions. And he was asking his friend that what is the secret, like every time you just hire the terrific people, right? So she said she knows when people are telling lie and she can read it. So he asked her, how can you make it possible? So she explained one thing that uh, uh, one time she was interviewing one lady for a sales manager position. So when she started doing the interview, she asked few basic questions that you also might have come across, like what is your salary, and are you really enjoying your work? And she was making a eye contact and she was telling yes, I do enjoy, and she was giving the positive replay. But when the HR, that lady asked that candidate that why did you leave your last job? So see, she slightly, that candidate, that lady slightly shifted shifted her position where she was sitting, and she was rubbing her arm, and she dropped some eye contact with that HR. Okay, so that one hint that HR got that okay, she's not like, her body is saying something different, and but her words are saying something different. So still she continued her talk with that lady, and then that HR asked her, okay, what is your future goals? Okay, and that HR herself give the answer that okay, you are looking for such a position or what? And she said, yes, I wanted to have explore. I want to explore multiple projects, but I was not getting that opportunity in my previous organization. But again, giving this answer, she was not maintaining eye contact, and she was she uh, she was doing the fidget with her hands. So so these were the tips, and these were the things that that HR person come to know that okay, there is something gut feeling that HR was getting. Okay, she is not completely telling truth, and later she got to know that she was fired in a last organization. But I would say that HR said ki that was not only the reason that we believe that people are telling lie, but sometimes it's possible that the emotions and the things that candidate is doing, those are genuine, though they are saying truth. Like uh, you can rub your hands or you can rub your arm when you are, though you are telling a truth, right? So that is not on like you might have seen when there is a hiring happen for maybe in a police department or maybe in sales department and in the stores. Okay, they believe on lie detector. There is one mechanism, police, I forgot the name actually, where they actually track your nervous system, like your breath rate, your blood pressure, whether you are sweating, okay, your heartbeat. So these are the, because whenever you tell lie, you are emotionally arises actually, and the person can see the movement in your body. So I would say, though you will be telling a truth, but make sure that you limit your fidget. So the tip is, though you are right, though you are telling your right story, like whatever achievements that you have, and you want that another person can buy your words, make sure that you control your fidget. Try to avoid rubbing your arms or disconnecting with the people as far as the eye contact is concerned. So it may happen that you are a truth and you have all those achievements, but as you have given the gut feelings with your posture and doing these things to the person you are speaking to, you may lose the opportunity. So that was the tips and that I wanted to share, Kiran. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Charanjit. Really, a real life example would really add on to the credibility of your talk, and that actually added a lot of points when you shared about how to come credible, how to come 100% credible to someone. Wonderful. Very nicely shared, Charanjit. Thank you so much. Great. So we'll move to the next speaker. I think our superstar has arrived. Parikshit has arrived. So before I invite him, rather than I speak, we made a short video to showcase his contribution to Peak Impact Mentorship and the kind of impact he has been creating for almost a year and a half. So just let me put his video. I hope it is audible. Just a second. Cool.
Very important activity of successful people, wherein they devote some time daily reflecting on their goals. As Napoleon Hill says, you become what you think about most of the time. Money is very important in everyone's life, right? Because anything which we have in scarcity, our mind will always focus over that, right? We take a simple example. Every time we wake up in morning, कितने बार हम लोग सोचे होंगे कि आज हवा में ऑक्सीजन मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? We never think about that because we know it is always there in abundance. तो कोई भी चीज लाइफ में abundance में होता है, कभी भी हम लोग वहाँ फोकस नहीं जाता है. तो उसी तरह कभी भी अगर मनी भी abundance में है, we will not focus on money. तब हम लोग मनी से भी ऊपर जो higher dimensions है, we can focus over that. That's why money is a very important.
Everything in life rises and falls on leadership.
Like this?
Correct.
The chains of habits are too light to be felt until they are too hard to be broken. So, like Robin Sharma, he mentions that change is always hard in the beginning, messier in the middle, and beautiful in the end. Right? And if the change is not hard, it is not real change. If not now, then when? If not this, then what? If not me, then who?
Amazing, isn't it? Nice. I was super inspired with Parikshit's effort, not only whatever he showed in the trailer, but yeah, I think most of the introduction is done with the video itself. Let the lion speak. So Parikshit bhai, I am spotlighting you. The stage is yours. Yep.
Thank you so much, Kiran bhai, for inviting me. It's such a privilege, such a warm welcome that you have given me. Hope you all are doing good. I feel so much privileged and so much delighted to share this wonderful platform with you all amazing people. Such a wonderful book reading session is going on. And I will also share a very powerful topic today that will transform your life only if you apply it in your life. So good evening, everyone. I am Parikshit. I am from Jamshedpur, currently working in a top-notch automobile company as an area manager in service department and currently based out of Kolkata. Hope you all are sitting with pen and paper because this will be a very content-rich talk. So note all the important points. Or else after 2 days you will forget 90% of what I have said. You will just remember, हाँ कोई अच्छा speaker आया था, कुछ अच्छा वो ज्ञान दिया, कुछ अच्छा लगा. Just remember that feeling, but you will not remember what I have said. So entire session will get wasted. So all these sessions are very important. Keep a pen and paper by your side and note all the important points so that you get maximum benefited out of these sessions. And one more important reason why you should make note is because whenever you have multiple sense organs involved in any given activity, you will always tend to have much more clear memory of it. Suppose you are just listening to me, so just one sense organ is working. Suppose you are making notes, then your sense of ear, sense of eye, sense of touch, 3 sense organs are working together. Then you will have better retention of my today's talk. Great, then enough of the importance of notes making. Let's start today's topic. I am sure every one of us at some point of time or other, we all have thought to develop a certain kind of habit, whether it can be exercise, whether it can be book reading, it's meditation, attending these wonderful sessions, attending the PIM workshop that happens every Saturday, fantastic sessions. I'm sure every one of us at some point of time have some difficulty getting that, habit developed. The most challenging thing about getting a habit developed is that it doesn't last, it doesn't sustain, right? We are always say that we are good starters, but we are not good finishers. We are easy to start anything, but are we a good finisher? Are we, ending it properly the way we want? So that's why I have brought you a very fascinating topic today on how to build lasting habits. So let's first understand why this topic is so important. Because if you will see any successful people in any field, whether it is your job, business, any profession you take, we all have to develop certain kinds of habits according to that. Success lies in your daily habits. Many people think कि अचानक लाइफ में कुछ बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा. It won't happen, folks. Let me enlighten you. It won't happen. Success is not an overnight journey. It is built on small steps daily, right? If you want to become successful, study the daily habits of successful people and duplicate it. Nothing will stop you from becoming successful. So let's first understand today how a habit is built. So there is a very interesting quote that goes around like this. Write it down. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You always fall to the level of your systems. Let me repeat. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You always fall to the level of your systems, which simply means that your goal is your desired outcome, but your system is the collection of your daily habits that will get you towards your goal, right? So today, I will share you one of the powerful systems that you can use to build any habit that will last. Write it down, give the heading. It's called 4-step CCRR method. Write it down, 4-step CCRR method. So the full form is Q, C-U-E, Q, craving, response, reward. So the first C is Q. Q means it's a stimulus. It means that's something which will remind you of the reward. Second C is craving, which means that internal thirst, that internal urge that forces you to get the reward. The first R is response. Response is something that gives you the reward. Second R is called reward. We all want reward, to get satisfaction, to complete our desires or to learn something new. Now we have to remember that all these 4 steps. What are the 4 steps what I just said? First is Q, second is craving, then is response, then is reward. So we have to remember that each of the 4 steps has equal importance. If any of the 1 step is missed, then your habit won't last. Like if we remove the Q, then the habit won't start only. If you remove the craving, then you won't feel the urge to do it. If you make the response difficult, then you won't be able to do it. If you make the reward, if you don't reward yourself, then you won't be able to repeat the habit next time. Let's take a very simple example. I am sure you all are attending right now. It's not by accident that you have landed here, right? You all are intentional about your growth. You all want to succeed in your life. You found some value in this session. That's why you are here, right? Suppose right now you just receive a notification sound in your mobile. That's the Q part. Now you feel like reading that message. That's the craving part. Now you took the mobile and read the message. That's your response. And then the feeling that you got after reading the message is your reward part. So to build any habit that will last, write it down. We have to make our cues visible, cravings attractive, response easy, and rewards satisfying. So these are the 4 things that we all can use to build any habit that will last. So now suppose you have to build the habit of book reading. So first step, you have to keep the book at a place where you look very often so that it can become your cue. Then you have to make that very attractive. You can use different kind of bookmarks, different kind of sketch pens you can use to highlight. That's your attractive, that's your craving part. Now the third part comes is your response. So to keep the response easy, always keep your books at arm's length. Never keep your book locked down in a cupboard. you won't be able to read that book, folks. Always check. Right now, check sitting in your place. Just spread one hand. Can you grab one book? If you're not grabbing one book, it will be very difficult for you to develop this habit of book reading, right? Now, the fourth part is the reward. Reward yourself by getting some good information according to your desire from that book. That is your reward part. So if you observe carefully, this same method, if reversed, can also be used to remove any bad habit from our life. I'm sure many of us have some bad habits that we all want to get rid of. So if you observe all these 4 steps that I just mentioned, you can use it to remove or break that bad habit also. What we can do, write it down. You have to make your cues invisible, your cravings unattractive, your response difficult, and your rewards unsatisfying. All these things, if you do, you can break any habit of yours, right? So let me tell you, folks, all these ideas which I just mentioned, this didn't happen कि एक दिन रात में मेरे को सपना आया अचानक, फिर हम सोचे कि एक book reading club में हम share करेंगे. Didn't happen like that, folks. I also read multiple books. So this was taken from an amazing book called as Atomic Habits by James Clear. So to quickly summarize what I just mentioned, the 4th step or CCRR method I told was, first was cue, make it obvious. Second was craving, make it attractive. Third was response, make it easy. Fourth was reward, make it satisfying. So that's about today's topic. So before I end my topic, I would like to give you all a very powerful, actionable step that you have to promise yourself to do this activity right after this session ends. You cannot procrastinate. You have to do this right after this session ends. So write it down. Today's assignment, very powerful. If you do this assignment, your life will start to transform. So you have to write 3 powerful questions and you have to ask yourself these 3 questions. Write it down. First question, what you want in life. Second question, why you want that. Third question, how will you get that? If these 3 questions, you are honest to yourself, you are writing this properly with a pen and paper, folks, you can remember that this talk will transform your life if you are doing this activity. One single activity, one single takeaway. If you are doing this from today's talk, write what you want in life. Be honest what you want. Write why you want that. Write how will you get that. Don't worry if you don't know the what part or the why part or the how part, or maybe someone doesn't know all the 3 parts like I was. I didn't know. Around a year back, if you had met me, I was completely confused. The what, why, and how part, right? That's where Peak Impact Mentorship comes into picture. That's where this mentorship role, I'm sure all of you have been assigned a mentor. So get in touch with your mentor, build strong relationship with your mentor, because they will only help you to guide in this fantastic journey called life. So thank you so much for listening, everyone. Always remember, don't make your future, make your habits. They will make the future on behalf of you. Thank you so much for inviting Kiran Bhai. I myself am feeling so much amazing sharing this wonderful topic with you all. God bless you all. You all are amazing. I hope I could add some of the value to my today's talk. Thank you so much for inviting me. Over to you.
Amazing, Parikshit Bhai. In fact, I love this topic even better. The content, the delivery, and the point to point with all of the real life. The phone example was so amazing. Everyone was, smiling while you were speaking about the phone example. Cue, response, and cue, craving, response, and reward. Amazing points, Parikshit Bhai. Really, really good. Due to lack of shortage of time, I'll ask 1 or 2 people to share excitement, because that will really, give kick to Parikshit Bhai to come again very soon. So who will share? I think people who have not shared last time, they should share. Not the people who are already sharing. Let me call. अच्छा, Bhushan Bhai, आप share करोगे क्या Parikshit Bhai के talk के बारे में? Bhushan, if you are hearing.
Yes. So first of all, thank you, Parikshit, to coming our book club, and it is a really privilege. Okay, and it is a wonderful talk and inspiring. You are inspiring us, and you are the wonderful leader also. And so I learned so many things actually. Sometimes we remember but we forget, and that is our habit actually. But yes, it is a very important and crucial point which I need to implement, and I will keep it in front of me actually. So thank you very much to coming, and it's wonderful talking and inspiring talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhushan. Last 1 more person. Who will be the next person? who will share. Prakash, you can maybe share if you're there.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about Parikshit's session. Actually, topic he talked about how to build a habit. Actually, most of the time we are struggling to get out of bad habits, and this whatever tips given by Parikshit will definitely help us, rather me, to get out of my bad habits. Thank you for sharing these important things with us, Parikshit. That will really help us a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a wonderful time spending with you all. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Parikshit bhai. We'll keep seeing you again and again and keep coming and inspiring all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Great. So we'll move to the next speaker then. Lalita ji, if you're prepared, I can spotlight you, Lalita ji. And other people, please raise your hand. I'll keep calling the names. Yeah. Go ahead, Lalita ji.
Okay. Hi everyone. I am Lalita, and today I am going to talking about very important topic, that is how to plan your day effectively. So for plan our day effectively, we should have a to-do list. So what is to-do list? To-do list is basically an organized day. Time and how to manage your day. So you always have a to-do list so that you can control your day according to you. So time आपके पास बहुत सारे काम होते हैं, राइट? अगर उन काम को हमने अपने टाइम के अकॉर्डिंग शेड्यूल नहीं किया तो टाइम निकलता जाता है और हमारा जो काम होता है वो पेंडिंग हो जाता है. So sometimes we feel कि a lot of important work I skipped. So through to-do list, you can save yourself from distractions, because we all know that we all are surrounded by a lot of distractions. So we should divide our task according to our productive and non-productive times. Okay, because what is productive time? Productive time when you are focused towards your work more. Like in morning में कोई distractions नहीं होता है और आप बहुत अच्छे से focused होते हो. तो जिस time पे आप ज़्यादा focused होते हो वो time आपका productive times होता है. तो उस time पे आप अपने urgent work को करते हो. So when we can make our to-do list, this is the most important point कि हम अपना to-do list कब बनाएंगे. So we can make our to-do list best time is one day before at night. जैसे कल हमारा काम है तो आज हम नाइट में अपना कल की प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं कि कल के डे को हम कैसे ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे, पूरा टाइम कैसे शेड्यूल करते हैं. तो जब हमारे माइंड में एक ऑर्गेनाइज प्लान होता है नेक्स्ट डे का, तो नेक्स्ट डे हम एक्टिवली अपने वर्क को परफॉर्म कर पाते हैं. सो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज हाउ टू मेक टू डू लिस्ट. इट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट because if we don't know how to make our to-do list, so we can do this. Okay, so personally I make my to-do list according ABC system. Sorry. So what is ABC system? In ABC system we can categorize our work according to priorities कि कौन से वर्क की क्या प्रायोरिटीज है, फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटीज, सेकंड प्रायोरिटीज, थर्ड प्रायोरिटीज के अकॉर्डिंग. सो A categories all those works comes which are urgent, not important, like you have to pay fee in last day, you have to pay bill in last day, and next day is your exam and you have to study. So all these work are in A categories, and in B categories are all those work which are important but not urgent, like you have to do work to achieve your goals, and you have to go office, you have to go school. ये daily routine का जो काम होता है वो हमारा B list में आता है, and you have to spend your time with your family is also come in B list. Okay, B categories. Okay, and next is C categories. In C categories comes all those work which are not neither important nor urgent. Like you have to. You want to watch TV, you want to play with your friends, you want to go outside, and you have to spend your time with एक्सेट्रा. तो इस टाइप के काम जो होते हैं वो सी कैटेगरीज में आते हैं. वन मोर इम्पोर्टेंट आई विल टेक कि जैसे आपका गीजर खराब हो गया इन समर सीजन, तो समर सीजन में गीजर की इतनी इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं है, तो आप क्या करोगे, उसको स्किप कर दोगे. तो ये जो है ना, ये सी कैटेगरीज में आ रहा है. बट क्या होता है कि जब हम सी कैटेगरीज के काम को इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं देते हैं, उसको हम स्किप करते जाते हैं कंटिन्यूअसली, तो वो ए और बी की लिस्ट में आ जाता है. सो अपने काम को प्लान करना बहुत जरूरी है अपने टाइम के अकॉर्डिंग. कभी कभी क्या होता है, जब हम टू डू लिस्ट बनाते हैं, सो we take a lot of work. तो इस टाइप से अगर हम टू डू लिस्ट बनाएंगे तो हमारा जो काम है प्रॉपर टाइम से कंप्लीट नहीं हो पाएगा. इसलिए टाइम का मार्जिन होना बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज क्या होता है कि कोई काम ऐसा होता है जिसको करने में ज्यादा टाइम कंज्यूम होता है, या फिर कोई अर्जेंट वर्क आपके पास आ गया, लाइक कोई सडन बीमार हो जाता है, उसको डॉक्टर के पास ले जाना है, तो इस टाइप का काम आपके उस डे के शेड्यूल में आ सकता है. इसलिए टाइम का मार्जिन होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो टू डू लिस्ट is most important for our professional life and our personal life, because if we don't maintain our day, so we can't manage, we can't balance our professional and personal life. That's all from my side. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lalita ji, for sharing an amazing talk. In fact, the points which you have showed is really works, because I know that I'm not completely 100% apply the to-do list, but yeah, every week, once in or twice, 2 to 3 days weekly, I prepare my to-do list, and it really works. If you, अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके पास time नहीं है, if you feel कि आपके पास book पढ़ने के time नहीं है, that means you are not actually managing your time well. Because if you write your to-do list, what just how Lalita ji told, actually everything is possible. So wonderful shared, Lalita ji. Thank you so much. Great. So we'll move to the next speaker. I think before moving, there was one lady who is new. Richa, can you introduce yourself to everyone? I think you joined for the first time, right?
Yeah, so I had a normal introduction before, but yeah, I would like to introduce myself again. So I have a total experience of about 5 years. So I'm based out of Bangalore. So since 2015, I am in Bangalore, and I'm working with a company called as Invested Nordly. So I came across this club, so thought of joining it, and then yeah, this is my first session, and it seems to be an amazing one for me.
Thank you so much, Richa, for introducing. Hopefully, we'll get in touch, and you can also share your topic maybe coming in few weeks. Thank you so much. Great. So we'll quickly move next then. Dilip Chachu, you'll go next. Dilip Chachu.
Yeah, Kiran. Yeah. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. I am Dilip Gupta, based out of Pune. I have got an experience of around 17 years, corporate experience. And today, my topic, like traveling towards positivity and self-image, high self-image. Like, okay, so see, we from the childhood, then how we get the negativity. I'll talk a little bit about negativity. So because without negativity, there is no positivity, right? So from the childhood itself, we get so many, we will come across so many people and negative people around us. And through the journey in our life, we get into so many negative people, and we tend to become negative in certain cases. जैसा बोलते हैं ना, दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक फूक के पीता है ना. So ऐसे ही होता है कि अब किसी ने मुझे चीट कर लिया, and someone try to cheat me, and then the next time if I see such kind of person, then what will happen? I'll start giving that, either I'll be skeptic or I'll be negative for for whatever similar kind of person, if I found he may not be a similar negative person, but I may visualize the negativity in there. So I started becoming negativity. That is how we developed the negativity in our life in so many places and so many incidents. So now, once we over a period of time we develop so many negativity, then how can we do good and how can we be positive? So how can we be positive? In the first and foremost activity we need to do is we need to put a cap on the negativity we currently have. Okay, we need to see positive side of everything. Whether if I find a person who is also negativity, in that case also I need to be very much positive. Okay, and I in my life, and while I practice, I need to put so much of positivity in my life, uh, so that negativity will get diluted. That need to be diluted. Then only we can practice the positivity. Okay, and so I'll say one of my great leader said about the suppose example, that is kind of, suppose you are you are playing a football or basketball, and from the first shot, if it is a match, from the first shot you need to go to the till 100 what is that shot. So what happened, is it first shot is equivalent to 100 shot? No, it's not. Okay, and can you play the 100 shot first? No, that is also not possible. So to you have to be in the journey, that first you have to practice, start acting, then only you can embrace the change in yourself. Okay, so once you get success in one thing, then you will feel that you have got that positivity. Otherwise, before the people, before the public, you can never play good, play well. Okay, so that is the kind of positivity we need to project in every place of our life. I would say this positivity, again, you need to, over a period, you need to develop. I'll say small example, life example I had around 25 years back, when I was very young. I was getting money, pocket money, and I was living in Chennai. I was getting the pocket money through money transfer, or something was happening during that time. When I went to the bank and tried to, I got a check. So I tried to encase the check. The bank teller, she gave couple of 100 rupee notes, while like she did some mistake, and while counting the notes, she gave couple of 100 rupees notes extra. So normally in that stage, when you are very young and you are very fond of, like, you need money, and someone gives by mistake also, someone gives, what most people do, just keep silent and take away, right? My sense did not work in that way. When I counted myself, I traveled, I went back, and I returned 200 rupees note back. You know, the response I got, from the teller, there was a lady, that was mind blowing. She said that every day they used to come across this kind of problem, and they having over a period, they used to transact a lot of money, and they used to lose some money while this, because there was no counting machine that time. Okay, so she was very much overwhelmed, and she said many people take it away. Nobody, very few people only return it back. So that is the kind of positivity we get in a particular situation, when we react properly or in a better way. And in this experience, what I would say, if you do something good, that is where the beginning of your positivity. And several cases like that happening in our life, we need to project that kind of positivity. And I think I had so many points to share with you people, but today we don't have much time, so I'll try to share in the next talk. Thank you so much.
Amazing, Jiju. As usual, your talk style and everything is superbly. Every time you share a new examples, and that too from real life, it really adds a lot of weightage in your talk and the point which you want to convey to all of us. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and keep sharing. Great. So we'll move to the next speaker then. Saurabh or Mahima, anyone is available for the talk? Saurabh, if you can hear me. Saurabh or Mahima, anyone? Okay. So I think
I can go ahead. Okay. Saurabh can go ahead. I'll go next.
Okay, go ahead, Saurabh.
Okay, just give a minute. Actually, I was in between some office work.
No issues.
So, good evening, everyone. So today, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Saurabh, you're loud and clear.
Okay. So today I'm going to share a very interesting topic from a book called Magic of Thinking Big, Get the Action Habit. So nothing comes merely about thinking about it, because whatever we are having in our life today, that was a thought initially that is being acted upon by someone. If it was not acted upon, then we should not having the facilities in our daily life that we are having. So, in a very brief, that successful people, they are activationists. Means they act upon the things, the thoughts, and they take an action. We can take it from our general life that we are bound with the assignments daily, some sort of assignment at home, at work, and it's generally our habit that we delay stuff or we don't take action on that. So we have to take actions on our work that we are having, and we don't have to wait the conditions until they are perfect, because our future is tend to be full with obstacles and difficulties. There are a lot of stories about that the user has shared. One of which I would like to share here. It was about a guy who was in the customs, and he had a very good knowledge of customs, and he wanted to. He thought that he would start his own business, but what stopped him was sometime there was some economic crisis, sometime the taxation law were changing, and thinking about those difficulties, those obstacles, he didn't start his business, and he was at the same position where he was initially. So what he did, he delayed his implementation of his ideas. So ideas alone won't bring success. It depends on how we value our ideas and how we act upon that. So we have to start our mental engine and do not have to say that we will do it tomorrow, we will do it next week, we'll do it later. If we have to do it, we have to do it now, and we don't have to waste our time on anything else except that we have to act on our work or act on our goals. That is what I would like to share. Thank you so much.
Amazing, sir. Each time you share your content very crisp, and the best part I love is you are right on time, man. You are someone I look up to when it comes to time management. You like subconsciously speak the right words, everything, and squeeze it out in a right manner exactly within 3 minutes. Amazing, man. I have to, we really have to learn from you when it comes to time management, so that we all can speak very efficiently in the given time. Wonderful, Saurabh. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Great. Awesome. So we'll move to the next speaker. Mahima, yeah, you can speak. You can go ahead now.
Yeah, so there's some problem with my network. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, Mahima. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little fluctuating. I won't be able to switch on my video.
That's okay, yeah.
So I will today be covering another topic from the business of the 21st century. I will be talking about 8 major wealth building assets. That's what's mentioned in the book. But what I found were 4 most important ones, which I could connect to, and I thought that I should talk about them. So the first most important wealth building asset is your education. That's, of course, the most important thing that you have to have. Now, there are basically three types of education that any person generally acquires. The first one is your general scholastic education, where you are studying subjects like maths, science, and history, geography, which is something that everyone studies throughout their first standard to 10th standard. That is a common understanding. The second one is your professional education, which is basically what you start studying from 11th all the way up till your degree, that is, till you complete your undergraduation. So that is basically education which teaches you how to be an employee or how to become pursue a particular profession in a field that you are interested in. And the third one is basically your financial education, which teaches you how to make money work for you. So these are the three main types of education which most people generally talk about. But what people always fail to understand is that it is not important to be book smart. It is also important to be something what people call as street smart. So street smartness doesn't come through education or doesn't come through study materials which people generally share with you. It only comes through experiences, and those are basically public speaking skills like leadership, and that only comes through observation and seeing people around you. So the first important thing is education in terms of technical aspects as well as in terms of life skills. Now talking about the second thing, this I feel is one of the most important, and that is your friend circle, the people that you have around you. Now, your friends and family are basically the ones who are the reason you are motivated to do anything in life. So, if you don't have friends who are, positive towards your goals, your dreams, then probably you're in the wrong friend circle. So, all my life, I have always had friends who, irrespective of how unobtainable my idea has been, they have always pushed me. They are like, "You do it, kar le jaake, jo hoga, we'll see." So that is the kind of friendship that you should maintain. That is the kind of family that you should have, where you do not have to keep thinking about, sharing your ideas with them, worrying about what they think. Because if people are jealous of you or if they don't like your ideas, then they will just put in negativity into your mind as well. So the second most important thing is your friend circle and your family in terms of positivity. Now, third is in line with that, it is your network, the network that you build. So, network building is different from friends, because friends are people who bring in motivation, but network building is depending on what aspect you want to grow in. You reach out to people, mentors, coaches who are good in that particular aspect. So, that is why a book club is a really good example, because now we're a part of the book club. There are people who are great in every particular field. So if suppose there's fitness, we have Bharat Supra, and then if there's relationships, then we have Karthik and Sahana, and then there is all sorts of examples where we have coaches who teach us about something new in every aspect. That is basically building a network where not only you are learning about your business development and your growth towards your goals, but also trying to do an overall development in terms of mentors in every aspect that you are interested in. And finally, what I felt was again very important was your mindset in terms of dreaming big and having big goals. In the end, in case you have all the resources that you require, you have the best education and you have the best set of skills in terms of speaking, you have good friends who motivate you, and you have a great network. And if you don't have a dream, then what is the use of anything? So it is important that in life, if there is something that you want to achieve, you should make sure that the dream is big enough to have those resources work towards it. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to have everything and then your dream is too small, that later on, after you are probably 70, 80 years old, you regret that sab kuch tha and I never actually did anything about it because I didn't dream big enough. So these were the four main ones that I wanted to cover, and there are four others that when people read the book, I think they'll understand those as well.
Lovely way of promoting, Mahima. You 8 points में 4 point promote करके बाकी बोलिए पढ़ लो जाके. Very nice. In fact, one very good strong point of Mahima itself is that even she also keeps her talk well in 3 minutes. I have hardly seen she exceeds the timer, and the kind of content she prepares is so crisp. Many of us, we also agree that we tell her कि यार go and do your podcast. इतने सारे talk तो आपने बोल ही दिया है book club में. सारे book club के video ले लो, काट दो, just cut the clips and keep sharing with a lot of people. And trust me, you'll get a lot of responses, and you can definitely impact a lot of people. You have amazing voice.
Thank you so much.
Amazing, Mahima. Thank you so much for sharing. Great. So we'll move to the next speaker. Rohit, you can go ahead. I'll spotlight you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening. Myself Rohit, and today I'm going to cover the third point from the chapter of excusitis, that is from the book Magic of Thinking Big. Okay, so this is the second chapter, and I have already covered two excusitis. This is basically excuses that people make. First is the health excusitis, and second is the uh, intelligent excusitis, and third one is the that I'm going to cover today is the age excusitis. Sorry, I cannot pronounce this very frequently. I'm facing some problem. I don't know how. Okay, age excusitis. Basically, what it means is that uh, people make lots of excuses about their things that they are not able to do. They blame their age basically, right? So I will take some more example of the early age, of the old age also. I have some couple of names that we all are familiar of, so I'm very excited to share those names and those examples that they have done. Okay, so I'll just quickly cover what it is. So basically, it is a disease that people make, that they blame their age, that why they are not capable of doing this. And the problem is that lots of people in this world, they this is the sad reality. Basically, they think that their age is not just right enough to do something big, do something, at least do something that they wanted to do for a very long time. Okay, so they think that they are waiting for a perfect age, or they think that their perfect age has already gone. Okay, so they blame all sort of thing, and they blame their age basically, that I'm not able to do because of this thing. Okay, so in this chapter, author talks about some real life example. One example is from a person who has lost the job at the age of 40. So he was thinking that my age is gone, basically I'm just washed up, my age is like my prime time has been gone, so I cannot do anything. But even though he was thinking like this, he was searching for the job. He was searching for some kind of job so that he can start his life again, because he was not having any job. After lots of struggle, lots of suicidal thoughts and all those things, he came up with some job, and he just joined that job basically. And in the job, he write one article that why you are washed up after 40. So basically, what he has gone through, he is just trying to impose that thinking to other people, that after 40 you are just no use. Okay, so this is the one example. Second example is from a person who is basically doing all sort of work for his life. He was a salesman, he was a some manager, he did lots of job in his life. And after some time, after 40 or 45, he realized that he wanted to be a minister. I think minister in the church probably. So he wanted to be a minister. He thought that I can do it, I should do it. So he put all his money, all his effort, all his energy into this act, that I wanted to be a minister. And after some time, he 3 or 4 years spending, after 3 or 4 years, he just got that position in the church basically. So there are some examples that how people think that they cannot do, and at the same age, people think that yeah, they can do it. So this is up to you. Okay, there are some more example. We all know that Colonel Sanders, he started KFC or some kind of business before KFC, selling chicken at the age of 65. There are people who did lots of work after age also. Like we all know, there is Ritesh Agarwal, who started oil rooms at the age of 20. So there are so many people. We all know that Sachin Tendulkar, who plays, who started to play international cricket at the age of 16. You just think and realize that 16, at the age of 16, you are facing one of the fastest bowler in the world, that is Wasim Akram, and you are not afraid, because you believe that you can do it. And this is how you make changes. This is how you impact things. And now we all know that how great is Sachin Tendulkar. Why he is great? Because he does not make any excuse. He did not make any excuse at the age of 16 that he can face the fastest bowler in the world. So this is how you think. There are a couple of things that you can do to cure yourself from this disease. One is the first point is the look at your current age, how much time, productive time you have. So in this chapter, author talks about that from age of 20 to 70, your productive life varies. So from 20 it starts and 70 till it goes. So if you are at 40 and you think that your life is gone, it is not. You have more than half of your productive life left basically, right? You have 30 years. So this is how you should think. Second point is that look at your current age and think that how much time you have left. Second point is that invest in the uh, um, invest your time in the future goal that you wanted to do. Basically, the thing that you wanted to achieve, those kind of thing you should think, and those kind of like you should put your effort into those things. You should not think in the negative way. Otherwise, the time you have left, the productive time you have left, it will also gone. Okay, it will be also gone after some time. So this is all you can do. This some small exercise you can do. That's all from my side. I think I did lots of things. I had crossed the time also. Thank you, Kiran. Over to you.
The talk was amazing, Rohit. The best part I loved is that the content which you shared with examples, that really, made my mind stick. Age excusitis, मतलब आपने 28 से लेकर 60 तो कवर ही कर दिया. बीच में हम लोग तो आ ही जाते हैं और excuse नहीं बचा.
तो हम लोग ऐसा नहीं सोचना चाहिए. बहुत सारे लोग सोचते हैं मेरे पास टाइम कम था, otherwise I could have gone more into it. But I think we all got the point that excuse नहीं बनाना है. ठीक है, आप जिस भी एज में हो, आप 70 में भी हो ना, आप भी सोचो यार 1-2 साल तो बचे ही हैं. ठीक है ना, हो सकता है 5 साल तक स्ट्रेच कर लो. ठीक है, तो थिंक लाइक दैट. ओके, जस्ट थिंक कुछ अच्छा सोचो यार. Do something good. Okay.
Amazing. Very nice sharing, Rohit. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So we'll call the relationship gurus. Karthik Sami, you can go ahead. I'll spotlight you. Yep.
Hi, Kiran. So hope my voice is audible.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, today our topics are separate. Disclaimer. So yeah, I forgot which topic. Yeah, my topic is made to stick from third chapter. I think I covered about 2 principles before from made to stick. That is, one is keeping your ideas simple, and other is keeping your ideas unexpected. Okay, so I'll speak about the third one. That is, right? I just recap. Acronym is success. So we have 6 principles for making your idea stick. The third one is C, which I'm going to talk about today. It's a very simple one. It's not very great or something, but yeah, you will know it when I tell. So we all know that Asians are good in math, okay, compared to Americans. Let's take when you write GRE, I've heard from so many people that yeah, maths was very good, but English was a little difficult. So math is very easy for Asians. Have you ever wondered why is that? Okay, so this survey, right? Before the survey, I'll take an example. So we have heard this examples in school, like what is 3 + 2 + 1? Okay, 6. Okay, so there is a classroom. One guy comes and puts 5 balloons. Then another guy comes and puts 8 balloons. So what are the total balloons left in the classroom? Okay, we say 13. So we have so many stories to tell like this. That means the messages are actually concrete. Okay, so when the survey was taken, it seems like 37% of the lessons which Japanese teach have these concrete examples, and in Taiwan it is around 20%, and in US it is only 2%. So keeping your ideas, keeping your message, keeping your information concrete. C stands for concrete. Okay, so has a major effect. Okay, to make your ideas stick. And let's take in cooking, when you see a new recipe you want to cook, okay, and if the recipe says cook until the mixture reaches a hearty consistency, what consistency you're talking about? Tell me how many minutes you want me to stir. If that is concrete, it will be good. Once you become a pro, maybe yeah, you will understand. Otherwise, tell me the actual count. Okay, so trying to teach an abstract principle without concrete foundation is like trying to start a house by building a roof in the air. Okay, so we also know about this Velcro, right? We all know this Velcro material, right? We use so many places. So you see the 2 sides of the Velcro. One has thousands of hooks and the other has thousands of loops. So when we actually get the 2 sides together, the huge number of hooks get snagged to the loops. Okay, and this Velcro gets sealed. So similarly, our brains, we have so many loops. So many loops inside the brain. So when your idea has so many hooks, right? When you tell your ideas, it will go and sit in your brain. Okay, so keep your ideas concrete in that way. And I'll take 2 examples before I end. So when Boeing prepared to launch the design of 727 passenger plane in 1960s, its managers set a goal that was deliberately concrete. Okay, what was it? The 727 passenger plane, it has to accommodate 131 passengers, and it has to fly non-stop from Miami to New York City and land on runway 422 at LaGuardia. So what is this runway 422 talks about? This runway is, the length is smaller than the actual passenger planes. That way you are going to make your plane very effective and good. So take simple examples. If I tell, okay, tell me all the white things you, take 15 seconds timer, put 15 seconds timer and write all the white things you see. And again, same example, again, another 15 seconds, you put a timer, and if I say, okay, write all the white things you see later. Okay, I feel the second one will be more effective, right? And also one more example. Think of 5 silly things that people have done in the world in the past 10 years. Okay, the second, same one, second thing. Think about 5 silly things your child has done in the past 10 years. I think the second one will be more effective, right? So keep your messages concrete. Concreteness boils down to specific people doing specific things. I think we have implemented this in our office work and every other life. So we need to keep implementing it everywhere and keep in mind that, yeah, concrete plays a major role. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Karthik. Amazing, very nice examples. I think concrete is the best part. The Asian mathematics. अब तो लोगों को पता चल जाएगा कि Asian लोगों का mathematics क्यों strong है. I know Karthik revealed the secret and the Velcro example and the Boeing wala thing. I think one more example you shared, na Karthik, the last one. What was the example?
Refrigerator. 5 things. White things.
Wonderfully shared, Karthik. Definitely in the summary, I'll ask few people to share more. What Karthik shared, the other 2 examples. Great. So Sana, you can go ahead next.
In 3 weeks, I spoke single. So yeah, I have a question. You can take 5 seconds because the answer is pretty simple. Which is the most expensive and the most big, and the largest asset of anything? It could be an organization, your business, a team. Anybody wants to take a guess? I think it's people. So people are our largest and most expensive assets. And how do we maintain that? Do we say, okay, do we give orders, say people, okay, do this, and they're very happy about it? I don't think so. So I'll be talking about this book called 25 Ways of Winning with People. So winning and people are like 2 different words for our managers and bosses, because for them work is just enough. And this book is written by our very dearest John C. Maxwell. And he has, he's in a conversation with someone called as Les Parrott. And the thing he's talking about is he has a major project which is about $1 million, and he knows he cannot do it all alone. And he's explaining the situation to Les. And he says that he's needing more to, he's needing more of energy and more of effort to raise this $1 million project. And he says that's when he realized that if he was even to achieve something great, then it is not possible alone, and he has to change the mindset from me to we. So I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Because even in the intro video that Kiran played about PIM, Vijay was talking something called as that one thing. So 1 is a small number to achieve anything. So it's very important for people to, feel the need. So I'm touching about this point that people should know that you need them. And so while he's explaining this, he said he had a lamination card in his drawer that he presented it to many of the people, and the results were very astonishing, because people love to join John C. Maxwell and achieve a common goal. And the points that he had written down was, I'll just share this. So these were the points he had written. Give up at any moment all that I am in order to receive all that I can become. Sense the invisible so I can do the impossible. Trust God's resources since the dream is bigger than all my abilities and acquaintances. Continue when discouraged, for there is no faith in the future. There is no power in the present. Attract winners because big dreams draw big people. See my people and myself in the future. Our dream is the promise of what we shall be one day. So it's so promising, right? So the people also will start feeling like that. There are 4 major points that John C. Maxwell has covered here. The first one is people need to be needed. They need to feel that they are important. And we need to make sure that we are telling them that it cannot be possible without them. They need to know the importance and the priority that they have. The second thing is people need to know that they need people. So if I need to work with a team, the team needs to know that there needs to be mutual understanding and a team bonding. That is the second one. And the third one is people need to know that they are needed. Like I said, we need to ensure that they know that we need them to have a common goal and accomplishing the same. And the last one is the people need to know they helped. So here I'd like to take 2 points. For the third point, if you observe, if you're going to any place in an unknown location, you roll down your window and you ask someone for the route or the address, they will leave all the work for you, come to you and explain the route, and they will also repeat it for you. The reason being, they know something more than what we don't know. So that is why they come back to us, and they actually take it like a privilege to help us. And in the fourth point, it's a people need to know that they helped. For example, you are an expert in your job and you have 2 freshers sitting with you, and the 2 freshers have 2 different attitudes. The first, you actually try cracking it at the most simple possible way, and the first one says, oh, is it that simple? I didn't know. And the second one says, is it this simple? Thank you for teaching me this. Whom would you help more? Is it the second person? So that's when you need, someone helps you, please thank them. They're giving their efforts for you. And last 3 points that I would share is, forget your attitude and ego if we need to grow. Ask help so you can do your job better. Third one, take inputs sincerely, not just because you have to impress someone. Please take input seriously, and I think we should start implementing those also. And never ever forget that individuals who win with people make others feel that they are at the very heart and not at the periphery. So you need to make them feel that they are the heart of the result, and not just like they were like side actors in any movie. So that's what I wanted to share.
Amazing, Sana. I think you live the talk. That is the best part of it, and a lot of fan following you have already. So superbly conveyed the message. Definitely, people will know that we need people to really grow in life. Superbly covered. Wonderful. So we'll take the last speaker. Today, I'll ask my dad to take the last speaker. Papa, you're available? Can you hear me? Papa, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kiran.
You can go.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You're audible.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Papa.
Yeah. Good evening to everybody. Yeah, today I want to speak about the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, Chapter 1. Chapter 1. And well, so what I want to say, yeah, this is the conversation in between our author Robert T. Kiyosaki and his friend Mike. When both the Robert Kiyosaki was at age of 9, his friend Mike, they had the conversation with Mike's dad. He is a rich dad, called as a rich dad in this, according to this book. And Robert T. Kiyosaki's father is called as a poor dad. Though he is highly qualified, but he is called, and he is a teacher, he is called a poor dad. Now I will just brief about little about a personal story. First of all, जो बोलते हैं ना, पहले हमारे जमाने में बोलते थे हमारे एल्डर्स, बेटे पढ़ोगे तो चढ़ोगे, मतलब अच्छा पढ़ोगे तो कार चढ़ोगे, अच्छा नहीं पढ़ोगे तो साइकिल चढ़ोगे। मतलब अगर अच्छा पढ़ोगे तो आपको अच्छा जॉब मिलेगा, अच्छा जॉब मिलेगा तो लाइफ अच्छा होगा और आप कार में आना जाना करोगे। अगर आप अच्छा नहीं पढ़ा है तो कोई पैसा नहीं होगा आपके पास, तो आप पैदल जाओगे या साइकिल में जाओगे। तो इसका मतलब क्या है, जो पुअर डैड क्या बोलते हैं इन ओल्डन डेज, better study better, get good job and lead the royal life. Stay in school and good grades, get good grades, and so you can find a safe and secure job throughout your life. Okay, but this finds very, very proved to be very wrong nowadays. I will share a story of a. Hello, Kiran, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Good.
Okay, okay. So I will share a sad story of an engineer who was having very dynamic knowledge and professional career, and recently in the COVID, he was a Tamilian, and he was doing job in USA, and very nice. His academic was very good. Then he got a job in US. Then after getting a good emolument and a good salary, he got married a beautiful, very rich. This one, a girl, nice looking girl, and Tamilian girl. They were leading a very royal life. They had kids. The days gone, they had kids. They were leading royal life. But very sad thing came when this recess came at the COVID time. You know that America, what happens. So his job is gone. He was having the big house, but it was, as you know, in the US, they were giving that on this, that is on loan, that house was on loan. So he was paying. But now when the job is gone, he was thinking very, very suppressed. He was not able to repay the house premium, then principal amount. Then he was not able to. Now, worst situation he came, he was not able to lead his common life, regular life, and he was not able to lead his family. Finally, what he decided, both wife and husband, one day he decided that they were going to ruin their life with their children, and both full wife, husband, and both children have done suicide. So what I want to say, even having a good qualification, achieved a good job, secured job in a foreign country, getting high emolument, but finally what happened? So because he was not able to pull on in the life because of financial crisis, finally he decided to suicide with his whole family. Very sad. Why it become? Though he was qualified, he seems to be very rich that time. Due to some natural disaster or pandemic, his life was totally changed. So, in fact, literally he is very poor, not rich. So, what I want to say, even having a good job, he was not able to pull on. Now, in this conversation of our author, when he was age of 9, his friend was Mike, and they were having, according to this book, they were gone at the age of 9. They've gone to Mike's dad. He was having a very good entrepreneurship. Then entrepreneurship, they were working for 10 cents, then 25 increase. They were not able to increase. All conversation was going on. Now that the rich dad was advising these two guys to telling the life push up. So you don't think about money increase or emolument hike. You try to build money for your future. As long as before you get married, as long as you don't have much financial burden, that time you earn so much of money, so that in future you start entrepreneurship and you build money, so that money can earn when you are leading with the family, or you got married, then you have children. That time the money should automatically earn for you. So that is the main theme in this chapter. So for my advice to young kids, young guys, young folks, that try to build up your money, try in very less young age. Then finally, when the time of family start leading the family, that time you start some entrepreneurship so that money can earn for you.
Amazing, Papa.
That's all, Kiran.
Amazing story. In fact, your talk today was so deep. I didn't really expect that you'll share this story at all. But then, yeah, it's really enlightening to hear from you this talk, because generally people of your age, they educate people the poor dad story. But listening from you that you should work on making assets so that your money can work for you, it is very enlightening.
In fact, we all are. Yeah, it is including me, the victim of poor dad only. Yeah, because we are victim of that only. Because still up to now I didn't do any entrepreneurship, or money is not end. I am behind of money. So definitely it is a lesson, eye opener for young generation that should start searching till before their marriage. They should go for money or earn job by job, earn the money. Then after that they should look for some entrepreneurship. Okay, this is the organization who can encourage for entrepreneurship. So you can start looking for this.
Wonderful.
So that money can earn.
It's not so easy to admit what you've admitted, but it is really very, very deep things. So Chachu was telling something, Chachu.
No, I just say even now also in so many places, अगर कोई लड़की देखने के लिए जाता है तो लड़के लोग क्या बोलते हैं कि उनका कितना कैसा जॉब कर रहा है, कोई पूछ नहीं रहा है कि बिजनेस कर रहा है, कितना अर्न कर रहा है, तो जॉब कर रहा है कि नहीं, कैसा जॉब कर रहा है बोल के पूछ रहे हैं. तो अभी भी ये माइंडसेट अभी बहुत जगह है, अभी भी that has to be changed.
Very true. यहाँ से चेंज होगा, यहाँ से 29 book club into 30 at least 900 लोग तो चेंज निकालेंगे and it will become a trickle effect. Definitely it will impact a lot of generation irrespective of age. So really nice sharing all of you guys. I think
मैंने तो बोल दिया बच्चों को, जॉब के भरोसे नहीं है, कुछ भी करो, बहुत पैसा कमाओ और बहुत मतलब अच्छे प्रैक्टिस करो, जो भी है, जो भी करना है अच्छे चीज और दिल खोल के करो.
Amazing. Superb. Good. So I hope it added some value today. I think we started around 8:45. It actually ended properly with time. So I think Balaji, you wanted to add something? Unmuted.
Hello.
Yeah, Balaji, you wanted to add something?
Yes. Yeah, Kiran, this is very. What to say? No, it's also a very nice platform. We are giving opportunity to speak and learn from each other. So, and most of books I have read it earlier, like 5M Club and Atomic Habits, and one more book also I read, The Power of Subconscious Mind.
Amazing. Then you should definitely start sharing, learnings what you've applied.
But today I learned from different people, like many topics. So that is really helpful for me.
Good to know. Yeah, good to know. Thank you so much for sharing the excitement, and keep coming. So who will summarize for us today? कौन summary देगा, जल्दी बताइए. This time who will pick? Rohit, will you do it? Rohit, can you summarize whatever?
Sorry, Kiran, आज नहीं हो पाएगा. थोड़ा discontinue था बीच में. आज ही नहीं हो पाएगा. Otherwise, I would have done it.
Okay, no issues. Saurabh, next Saurabh, if he can summarize.
No, today I was.
He talked about the 4 eyes: imagination, inclusion, illumination, and illustration. Then I shared the topic about how to become a good conversationalist, and then Ishwar talked about financial literacy from the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So what are the assets and liabilities? After that, Charan talked about how to become credible person when you are talking to someone. He shared really great examples like interviews. When someone was fired and he was that lady was giving an interview to some other place, then he talked about how to control your emotions in that situation. that is really helpful. Then our special guest Parikshit talked about how to build lasting habits, where he shared the fundamentals for double C double R and how we can get out of our bad habits. Excuse me. And then Lalita ji talked about how to plan your day by having a good to-do list, okay, prepared well before in time. Then after that, Dilip ji shared about positivity through your self-image. Okay, he really shared some good examples. Then Saurabh talked about the get action habit. So we most of the time think of doing things, but we are not really doing it. So we should be acting upon whatever we are thinking, so that we will become successful in whatever we are talking or thinking to do. Then Mahima talk about the business requirements in the 21st century. So he shared a lot of things that what are the various things which are impacting, and one of the thing is like the people around you, what kind of friends you keep, that is the very much important. And then Rohit talked about the age executives. He shared about the what is the time span where you most of the time we feel that I'm too old to do things, but he really broke down that our thinking that we have a lot of time. So from 40 to 75 years of age, we still have around 25 to 30 years to do many things. After that, Karthik shared about the idea to success concrete. So that after that, Sahana shared about the knowing people, how to know the people. And then after the great topic from Adian Uncle from the Rich Dad Poor Dad, that how to get started with earning money and when to focus about your entrepreneurship. So that's